thank you for everyone showing up. And obviously, hopefully you'll make it interactive and engaging for everyone here, that we all learn from each other. And looking forward to it. I've been excited all week for this, I think, as much as Nelly has. So thanks for the opportunity, Nelly, as well. So just to give a quick intro for myself, I've been kind of growth marketing for about 10 to 11 years, I think, but the last 7 years specifically in Web3, before it was called Web3 even. I've kind of worked in crowdfunding, NFTs, exchanges, DeFi, so a lot of the stuff I'm talking today, we've had massive results throughout the years, but the tactics and the tools available have changed drastically. But the stuff I'm talking about today has been constant. So that's what I'm trying to give the mental models of that approach, because obviously, ChatGPT didn't exist 2 years ago. Different platforms didn't exist. So all these technologies always change, but these mental models are consistent. And they also apply at a big level across every Web3 kind of sector, So there's obviously so many different segments in Web3 in terms of what's out there today. But we've had successful results with this over a period of time. I'm also the founder of Web3 Da Vinci's, which is sort of a community dedicated to kind of participating in Web3 projects. So instead of probably investing capital, which I'm sure is obviously a big issue, a big problem, is always a solution. But we try to align on investing in projects through advisory, through participation, sort of different types of capital instead of actually financial capital. And I'm also the co-founder of Growthbusters, which is dedicated to supporting you guys on the next step on your growth journey. So it's not so much kind of a marketing firm where you get PR and social ads. It's identifying from the company level down where you are as a company and trying to support you to the next step. And I'm sure over the course of the workshop you'll see, I suppose, our mentality. But right now today it's about helping you guys as much as possible at the mental highest level, and then more actionable as we tailor down the workshop. So again, the reason why we are here today is, as startup founders, basically you're getting stuff thrown at you left, right, and center, financial investment opportunities, marketing opportunities, team hiring, and everything like that. We're really addressing the marketing today. And the idea is to really figure out what are the priorities, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. Wisdom is, I would say, we're Nelly pointed out being guru and all this stuff, but it's more wisdom is about knowing what to avoid and where to kind of go towards, right? So it's learning from mistakes, learning from your own mistakes, but learning from other startups, learning from the bull and bear cycles we've seen over the past 10 years. So trying to kind of point the direction in a positive spiral, be it a negative spiral. And we'll go through examples of that. Why it's important is, one of the biggest reasons for startup failure and kind of the startup graveyard is market product fit, marketing problems, team problems, finance problems. And today's workshop addresses all of those things, because it's sort of a one-size-fits-all solution in terms of, if you're growing, you're going to find it easier to raise funding. You're going to find it easier to get your community working for you. So it's just trying to address that at the highest possible level. What are we actually growing is the Web3 community. So just to kind of create the context of what a Web3 community is it the Twitter followers? Is it your user base? Is it because there's a big kind of thing of what is community? And really we see as one spectrum that we've seen in Web3 over the past years is that it can be seen as a hyped up exit liquidity for VCs, so you go negative spiral we've seen is, you raise quick funding, you do a hype campaign on Twitter, you get a few influencers, you get 50,000 people on Twitter and 20,000 people on Telegram. And before there's even a product built, and that's where the VCs, the lower quality VCs would look for, because obviously then they get a token, they sell it to that community. So that's what they're looking for. And it's not sustainable. We've seen the results of this. And the highest value form is obviously that you're treating your community like co-owners, business partners. They're part of the protocol, they're part of the project, they're part of the vision, and they're incentivized and aligned to push it forward. So it's bigger than just the individuals and the team. You're kind of creating this kind of tribal infrastructure. Obviously, everyone's community will be made up of different stakeholders. But to keep the workshop aligned today, we're breaking them down into three components. So here we see the Web3 business model essentially collapses the categories of company, investor, and user into a single economical aligned category called community. This is different where obviously in Web3 these are separated, So the classic Web2 model is you get a load of investors, you give away the product for free. Eventually, you need to monetize the products, you get all these users, and you start turning the users into basically data oil to then flip to the investors again. So there's this kind of misalignment, and the Web3 business model allows us to align these things so it's more sustainable, it's more kind of distributed fairly, and there's different kind of benefits and pros and cons on how to do that properly. But what's the Web3 community made up of? We would say investors, ambassadors, and users. So every project here will need investors, and that could be investors investing into the vision, VCs, angel investors, private retail investors. It could be even investors if it's an exchange or selling NFTs or marketplace, like these kind of investors. Ambassadors, in terms of getting involved in promoting and sharing and referring the project, is a big element of Web3 and crypto. We're so exceptionally early that people involved at this stage are here 50%, like they're here for incentive, financial first, and then vision and value second. But it's a big market in Web3 to leverage and to figure out how to get those guys aligned with your vision. And then you have users, which it'll be different, obviously, in everyone's case here. But what we normally see is a spectrum here where they could be users and then become ambassadors, or they become ambassadors and they become users, or ambassadors attract users. If you have loads of ambassadors and users, a lot easier to get investors. If you have a load of ambassadors users on the product, it attracts liquidity. So there is kind of interlinking effects here where we see a lot of people, maybe targeting one of these specifically, where the idea here is to create a kind of a structure that we're organically growing. But we'll jump into that on a deeper level later on in the call. Each of these and the workshop, each of these will contribute differently. Obviously, investors will focus on financial capital, but if you look at what Web3 is, it's nearly gamifying value transfer at large, gamification of value. So the idea is that you can invest things that aren't, directly financial capital that actually generate that financial capital. So ambassadors can generate social capital, spreading you on social media, advisory, introductions, partners, actual work. You've seen bounty campaigns and examples like that on Ziti, etc. I'm sure, but they can contribute in different ways. And we've seen how people have leveraged airdrops or token distribution to align that. We're trying to really upgrade the industry standard on how to do that with good examples and highlighting bad examples to kind of create this effect. But the first thing I'm going to try to get you guys involved is right now we're going to talk about where you guys are at, right? Because before we start worrying about the community, the value systems and all this, like I'm aware that you guys are startups, and startups have one big issue, which is having money is everything, not having it is, right? And this is a kind of a big mindset in Web3 that you kind of want to be making the big decisions long term and do it, but it's always like a short term fire of where's the next funding round coming on, how are you showing traction, what are the kind of the short term, the long term, the initiatives that you're doing. So I'm aware of this, and this is a famous quote by Kanye West, who's a genius Web3 marketer in his own right. But generally, we're addressing your fundraising stage at this stage, So you might be at a pre-seed level where you have a technical product and you're trying to bring it to the market. So you might be on the test net, you might have raised your first $500,000, and you might be looking at that seed round of $2 million, and you're about going to market. And to raise a seed round, you might be trying to get that initial traction going, or you might be in the seed round and you might be preparing for the kind of go-to-market strategy or Series A, which is commonly, to be honest, in Web3 is like a TGE, right? So you have the technical product, you have like the test net, kind of main net, and now you're preparing for TGE. But we're really addressing kind of problems around these areas and figuring it out. And in those problems, you'll have different solutions to solve, but we'll apply this in reality right now. So at various points of the workshop to keep you guys engaged, so you make sure you're not off making coffee and listening to me and participating, I'll be kind of calling you up on stage and just giving you a chance to, first of all, represent your company, tell the story about where yourselves, the company itself, yourself first, who you are and the company you're representing, what they do. And I might guide you along and ask about the community. But right now the question is like where you guys are currently at. So it's better to show than tell for this one. So we'll get going with this wheel and let's see who gets the lucky spin. Right now, I might need your help here because
yeah, we have Snotra. Sorry guys, it's Osman, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. So welcome, Osman, and as Will suggested, please introduce yourself briefly, your startup.
Yeah, sure. That I'm really in a shock because I couldn't accept it. Well, we are liquidity layer for the NFTs and the games actually. So we are providing the NFT lending, borrowing, and the NFT liquidity, NFT leverage, and also the NFT mortgage, buy now, pay later function for the game-based projects. So we are located in the Aptos and Sui right now, currently, but after seed round actually, after we close the seed round, we are planning to expanding the EVM chains. And right now, we still didn't raise any funds. And actually, we are in the beginning of the graph in the technical phase. So right now we are building the MVP, and so we will go to testnet after 1 month. Yeah, we are in there, currently in there. Yeah, definitely in there. So that's all for now.
Yeah, so Brian, so you guys have you haven't actually raised the pre. You're currently looking at raising a pre-seed. Would that be right?
Yeah, still we didn't start actually. Still, we are waiting to completing our MVP. And so after 1 month, we will start raising funds for pre-seed. So definitely we are in the technical risk period because of building the MVP and all of the front end, back end, smart contract, all is the settle down. But now we are integrating the all of them as a product. So after we complete the MVP, we will start raising pre-seed round.
Brilliant. And do you have a current community? Do you have an audience that you have, or community, or people kind of, you know, rallying around what you guys are doing at the moment? Like, where would you? Is it obviously, let's say, the 3 layers we could talk about are you obviously have normally co-founders. You might have an initial team, but you have sort of a community around it where if it's even friends and family or external, like where would you consider yourselves at that? And will community be important to your projects going forward?
Yeah, and we are 7 people. So 4 of us, the co-founder, and the remaining is our subcontractor. And so we have small community. Actually, we have a good Twitter followers, but we built these followers and the community in the SUI and the Aptos testnet phase. And after testnet phase and our community, some of the majority people goes to silence, but still we are having engagement with them. And so currently we have 5,000 Discord member, but the active member is around 300, 400 member in Discord. And also for the Twitter also, our engagement per post is around 1,000 people. So our follower around 10,000 in Twitter. But our engagement is not perfect because we are also not pushing the marketing because we are building the product. We are just warming, and with the community, we are just sharing the announcements. Okay, we built this. Okay, we are partnering with this. So this is the basic of the marketing or the growth strategy for us for now, actually.
Basically, yeah. So no, really appreciate you sharing that as well. Obviously, like today's workshop, we have about 10 startups here, so I'll be having kind of conversations that we'll be addressing, which you that as an example, maybe throughout, to have everyone kind of have a reference. I mean, we might bring it up again, but I can't really go into maybe too much detail. So it's just kind of getting case studies. But you said, for example, you had congratulations on your success so far. So you had like 5,000 Discord members, you have an active Twitter following, maybe 400 or 500 are engaged, but you're currently kind of not really pushing anything. Like, is there any way for that kind of 500 Discord community or 5,000 people to get involved in the project right now in terms of giving feedback or anything like that? Is there any way for them to get involved, or are they just kind of waiting for updates from your side, or like how is the participation at the moment?
Yeah, we are for example, when we creating our proof of concept, we ask as a survey to our community, and we getting the feedback from them. For example, I found the NFT mortgage idea, buy now pay later idea, and the NFT leverage. The feedback from the community, from the Discord members, because they were challenging to the liquidity issue with their NFTs. And so we found this idea, NFT mortgage. Okay, you can buy the more NFTs with a mortgage debt. So we are engaging with them. We are doing the survey. We are getting feedback from them. But we are not doing the every week or every month. We are doing we did until now the 4 or 5 times with our community. But the remaining of time, we are just updating. Okay, after the survey, okay, we found this problem and we built this product. Okay, our MVP will be NFT staking and NFT lending borrowing. And after MVP, we will also integrate the NFT mortgage. And so we are updating as per the survey result, actually.
Brilliant. And like, what were you hoping to get out of today's workshop for you personally or for your project? Like, was there any kind of burning question or burning problem, or you could be honest here, like, is in any big fear about your marketing or growing the community? Was there any kind of specific problem or kind of worry that you were looking to maybe resolve on today's workshop?
Yeah, sure. Actually, the Web3 projects, they are mostly they are following the hype, right? Right now, we are in the Move ecosystem and Aptos and Sui, but there is no hype in the Move ecosystem right now, currently, for Aptos and Sui. Most of the NFT users or the Web3 users now, they are jumping from the layer 2s to another layer 2s, right? So my biggest question in my mind, even if I close a fundraising in the pre-seed round, how will I build like a hyped community, even there is no hype in my ecosystem? So this is my biggest challenge actually, because I couldn't think this type of things before, and right now currently we are really close to testnet after 1 month, but I'm not sure that I will reach my KPIs in the testnet because of nobody focusing on the Aptos and Sui at the moment. But I believe my ecosystem, but it's still very small community. And this is one of my question. And the second question is, my project is like a bridge between the DeFi and the NFT, and we call it the NFT-fi. But the majority NFT users, they don't like the DeFi, and the majority DeFi users also, they don't like the NFTs. And so, but how will I solve this problem? Yes, I focus on in the UI and UX. We did everything is very simple, and it's like even the 10 years old guy can use it easily, or even the 60 years old guy can use it easily. And that was my main purpose, because NFT lovers, they don't like the sophisticated DeFi products, right? And so that was the UX side. But the marketing and growth side, I also don't know I'm in the cross community. So some of the DeFi users, some of the NFT users. So how will I do my creating community with this challenge? This is also another question, because when I'm searching in the YouTube or the blogs for the Web3, they are just focusing on the DeFi or the NFT, right? Or the metaverse or the gamify. But I'm the middle of everything. So how will I solve my problem? This is also my second question actually in my mind.
Yeah. No, great questions. And just to get outlining these problem constraints. And as I said, we get everyone maybe hopefully getting a chance to speak and addressing them. So I'm pretty sure everyone else would have maybe similar problem. They're quite common patterns. Like I can tell you, you're not alone in the problems that you have, because Web3 is so small, and then it gets very tribal in terms of people are interested in very specific aspects. Where NFT might be very crypto curious, they might be even more Web2 based here, or DeFi might be very crypto native, hardcore, self-custodian, and there's a spectrum there. But that's first of all, that's essential that you really do have an understanding. It's good. I can see that you have an understanding of your problems, right? And if there's a problem, there's a solution. But that's the idea of looking at the market you're building for, right? Because if it's too segmented, that is, there's no point. The common way of doing this is building a product and bring it to the market. That's just not possible in Web3 at the moment. Like, you have to look at the market that's there, and you're building problems for them, basically as it is. But the idea is like building it with the market. It's not saying product market doesn't work, obviously, but the idea is that you're building it for the market with the market, and to understand that market of the cross section between NFT or DeFi, whether it's separated, whether it's conjoined, and to figure this out. Just the last one there with the very first one with the technical constraints. You said it's going to be EVM compatible as well. Won't the technical constraints of the ecosystem be limited? Would be unlimited after that, or is there like you're a bit worried about the ecosystem being too small as well? Was that an issue?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
You're mentioning that the ecosystem that you're building or working in is a bit, there's no hype, it's a bit small. That was one of the issues? But you said it's going to be EVM compatible, so those constraints will lift, won't they, if you're able to integrate with other ecosystems going forward?
Yeah. This Aptos and Sui is not the EVM compatible. They are the non-EVM chains. And
yeah,
my project, I want to be the chain agnostic liquidity layer for the NFTs actually. And it's Slido, like a deep book for the NFTs, not just for Aptos, not just for Ethereum. I will be the chain agnostic. So I will expand the EVM, for example, BNB chain, the Ethereum, or the some of the layer 2s, like a Zora, maybe the base. I will expand it, but not after 1 month. It will be like after 1 year. So, but after complete the first growth of my community. So I will expand my community from the Move ecosystem to the EVM ecosystem. Then this is my second projection. For today, I will be in the Move ecosystem, and so this is the challenge. Okay, there is no hype, but I should find very like the excited community, not just 300 people as active. I want to build the 5,000 active member for my project in the Move ecosystem actually for today. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like I wouldn't say it's a problem. I think it's like to maximize the ecosystem that you're in. And the idea is if you can do that well, it should be able to scale to the other ones. So we'll be discussing how to do that as well. But it's actually an opportunity to kind of flip that into saying, oh, there's a small community there, but that's normally more loyal, active community as well. So the idea is to maximize what you can do in the current community, but knowing those constraints will lift. And I actually like that approach of picking maybe a small community, protocol chain, whatever like that, and to really get things motoring. And then when you expand to other chains or other protocols or partners that you can actually expand, but we'll discuss it. But yeah, so appreciate that. If everyone is as good as detailed as that, we're going to have a fun call and get through a lot. But right now, I'll just take it back to just talk about some of the issues that came up there already. And I'm pretty sure we've seen as well that you did an initial sort of campaign, right? And you're already seeing the tail off of the engagement. You know, people are excited and slowly starts coming down. And this is this is the most common thing we see. You know, they do basically, let's say you're ready to launch a test net, you do a campaign, it's a bit slow, there's a bit of a gap, and you start losing off the audience. And then when it's ready, you've only about 10% of the audience, or you're in between test and a mainnet, you've done a big campaign, it's maybe a launch pad or something like that, and you start slowly losing that traction in between. And we have this pattern repeating over and over again in these projects where we're seeing that they have this initial kind of milestones, let's say, like, you know, these 3 key milestones of testnet, mainnet, TGE. And in between those, we're losing. And then even unfortunately, after the TGE, it never really recovers. And at that stage, you start seeing more desperate tactics, you know, influencers paying for followers, trying to generate hype, especially if there's VCs involved. And we start taking like the deadly sins, and it's nearly like, you know, life support. And we basically don't want to get here. And this never is the solution as well. So the idea is today we're going to discuss maybe patterns to avoid, to be aware of, and to start like, you know, getting in the right direction. A lot of this is because, 1 second now. Show course. We have these kind of ideas of like, we have a tactic, we might do a launch pad, we might have a key influencer, something like this, and it kind of stops and starts. We never really get it ongoing. We might have like a bit of a milestone we launch a round, and the marketing efforts or the tactics basically never kind of go from the tactics to a campaign or kind of a repeatable process. So the idea here is to kind of give you a bit of a repeatable process, that we don't end up in this kind of cycle of stop, start, you know, kind of excited for a little bit and then dead. And this is like 90% of crypto projects, you know. So the idea here is to stop this before it happens, right? If it has happened, to kind of get you going in the right direction. And obviously the pattern idealistically we want is something like this, right? Where you have these milestones, and every time you're doing it, you're getting bigger and bigger. So the idea is you do a technical thing, you get your first guys in the test net, then you kind of rally these guys around the protocol, the users, the ambassadors, preparing for the main net. And at this stage, then you're like, okay, we're live, we have a product, might do a TGE, it could be supported by fundraising from VCs, etc. But we're kind of leveraging every milestone that we have. And to avoid the kind of downward cycle that normally happens after key milestones in Web3. So we're trying to address that to continuously expand what we're doing, and to avoid that stop-start pattern that we talked today about. And the way we're doing that is we're trying to define a structure that you can constantly be doing your marketing. You're saying you kind of stop it, you start it, you stop it, you start it. But obviously you guys, with your founders, if you're technical founders, the idea is to get the community and the team around you to do the marketing for you. So it's not like it's not like just depending on you guys to kind of leverage every success that you have, so it's not stop, start again. Right, so I'll just go through the key mental model that we're going to kind of define a structure in today. So how to actually get to the point of, you know, steady going up instead of these like hype cycles. We're going to discuss just a quick mental model and the importance of mental models. So as I said, what I commonly see when like a story would be like, we did a soft like fair launch or something like that, and we distributed our tokens and our bounties, and we didn't even have a product. And we actually realized it was going to cost us more to distribute the rewards and the tokens than it was to actually, you know, because of gas fees and stuff like that. So now we have basically an unhappy user base community that's, you know, they're annoyed because they didn't get paid their bounty tokens. They're like, where's the product? Years later, and they're a community that's working against them and they can't fix that. Or you have people doing like they paid 20 grand for an influencer or something like this, or a Twitter ad campaign or PR campaign. Nothing happened, and they haven't gone anywhere with their marketing. So we're just going to talk about a mental model to establish the patterns that we want in terms of going upwards. And this will be kind of get to the stage there that you're kind of talking about the ecosystem being a constraint earlier, the speaker, where you should be always being able to do something and you're causing effect. You're not relying up here on the market cycles, you know, hype from the external chains that you're hoping something will happen. You know, you're hoping the market will turn around. You're hoping that the exchange will, the exchange or the will hype your, you know, your launch or your listing, but the protocol will do some more hype in terms of what they're doing. But the idea is to give you the tools that you're always doing something, and you're giving the community weapons or, you know, participants to be consistently growing and causing effect instead of relying on external kind of hope and pray. And, you know, you might get an opportunity for, you know, 5K here to invest in this influencer or Twitter campaign or PR or newsletter or Cointelegraph publication, and you're just hoping it's working and you're hoping that something happens. So we're going to give you the mental model here to make sure things are constantly happening. And for that, we're going to leverage the growth flywheel, and we're going to break this down. Okay, so one of the sticking points of this call, right, is to get this kind of instilled in your head, and you're thinking about this at every point through your kind of your growth journey. And we'll take it from there. Second now. So it's a bit outlandish. Like the current marketing that we see in Web3 tends to be very funnels, and this is our approach to funnels like Growthbusters. And it's not to say that like we don't see a purpose for funnels, but the idea is that the big migration from Web2 marketing to Web3 and community building is funnels to flywheels, and we'll just try to outline a mental model for that for you guys to think about. So the traditional Web3 marketing funnel basically is targeted customers and users, and essentially it's deriving off of kind of financial capital. Our goal is to build this flywheel that we're systematically bringing strangers into people considering the project, to people participating and promoting in the project, and promoting it to new people for you. That's the biggest intention. Why this is so important in Web3 is because at the start, we talked about building community, right? The funnel is great for customers, but you lose the energy at the bottom, and then you have to do another marketing campaign. You're starting again, you're stopping, you're starting, you're stopping, you're starting. And the real flywheel effect that we're trying to establish in Web3 is a community that's really propelling it forward beyond you, and to put the infrastructure in place for that flywheel to take off. And to harness that flywheel with the community, the energy then is every time we do a marketing campaign, we're adding to the flywheel, so it's exponentially going up. And difference between that is the structure is from customers to communities, and we'll give an example of this. But the idea here is we're really trying to move away from this betting approach where we go into our base events, we start developing and technical, we do a marketing campaign, we have like 10K or 20K to spend on it, we're hoping it's working, and then we start again and we start again. And the idea is we're constantly building, we're constantly growing, we're constantly adding to the flywheel, and we're seeing that growth over time tied to the milestones. 1 second now, I'm just gonna do another quick problem point out here for the audience. So just going to call someone else up on the stage here. Oh, nice.
Yeah, cool. Brad Synergy, Brad Butler. Brad, are you here?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm here.
Good.
Brilliant. So, Brett, like you're an exciting startup. We've been in discussions with you, but right now, for the benefit of everyone else, I'm just going to give you an opportunity as well, because I think it's relevant to startups here and potential people tuning in. The actual story of what you guys are doing, where you guys are at, and maybe how you guys are getting involved as well. So I'll just give you the floor there.
Yeah, so we are Brass Synergy. We're building a vetted talent ecosystem. And specifically what we're doing is we like to see this in two different phases. So we're creating digitally verifiable on-chain resumes for everybody. So if you think about it, the one thing that really separates good from poor businesses, regardless of industry, is the people. And being able to hire, evaluate talent, and be able to retain them is essential. And so what we're doing in phase one is creating a verification algorithm that verifies someone's education history, work history, backgrounds. And then to existing businesses, they can use that to evaluate talent. So it gives them an agnostic way to be able to say, okay, this person over here is producing more than this person over here. And it allows individuals to gain access to other opportunities. And then in phase two is creating a platform that allows people to network, look for jobs, and be able to transact either as a freelancer or a full-time person with confidence, because everybody that's on there has been fully verified, and it allows them to have that additional layer of protection where they can be able to kind of communicate with one another and do so in a way that's really efficient. In terms of where we already have an early stage MVP. We have already raised some funds, so we already have a lead investor, but we're in our seed round. So we are in the process of being able to continue to be able to validate our market. Right now, we have about 1,000 people in our Discord. We actually have a builder group that represents about 15 countries that are helping us actively build the platform and the AI verification algorithm and really testing that at a smaller scale, as well as probably about another 5,000 people across other different platforms total for our following. $0 marketing spends, and we are actively raising in our seed round right now. And the idea is that for us, we're going to leverage that to finish building the platform and be able to continue executing our go-to-market strategy over the next 15 months or so.
Brilliant. Like, obviously we've had a few discussions because I'm tremendously excited by the space you're operating in. As you know, I work with many startups like with Nelly, and hiring is always a massive problem. And the quality coming in is a lot of the, bad quality in, junk out. And I think, on the simplest terms, that's one of the biggest things you're solving in the space. So we're obviously in discussions to support you, but for the benefit of everyone here, in terms of the current community that you've established, like, is there ways for them to, participate at the moment in terms of feedback, what they want to see, what they don't want to see? Obviously there's startups looking to hire and people looking to get work and stuff like that, but is there mechanisms in place for them, those guys, to get involved currently?
Yes, so in our Discord right now we host weekly calls. So there's a couple of different things you can be able to, if you're looking for developing different skills. Right now we're having classes on a weekly basis that are live, to where they'll work with either our CTO or our chief community officer to actually go through and manually build the AI algorithm, as well as kind of bouncing ideas off of our community. So people are getting involved on really a daily basis, everything from different features to things that they're seeing in the marketplace, to different ideas and utilities for the platform as a whole, as well as just giving feedback for us overall. So I think right now we've got, on our last call, we had a little bit over 200 live that attended, which out of a community of 750 to 1,000 is a really good representation. And we've been growing at about 20% month over month, both in our builders that are people that are actively involved, as well as the community as a whole.
Absolutely. So I think when we had a discussion, I was pointing out there's many things you're doing really well, and to keep them going for the moment. And just for the benefit of everyone here, like, are you planning on having a token at some stage, doing a token generation event? Is that part of the kind of roadmap at some stage? And also, in terms of engaging the current community and getting, I really love, I will come back to it, the idea that they're showing up live, as in the spiritual energy, as in they're actually showing up in presence, because as you know, like, there's bots and fake accounts and duplicate accounts, and I really think a key metric right now in Web3 is getting people to show up live on these, like today's workshop on Twitter Spaces. And I really like the way you straight away pointed that as a key KPI, and that's something I would encourage everyone to kind of focus on, and we'll show a practical example of how to get to that as well. But yeah, just to circle back there, the idea of, are you planning on doing a token and a token generation event? And secondly, can you share your secret in terms of what are you doing to get those people to show up live? Are you just, is it culture? Is it you talking? Are you incentivizing them? Like, what is there any kind of secret sauce at the moment to get that people showing up live to the Brass Energy spaces?
Yeah, so a couple different things. The first is that it is in our roadmap to be able to create a token, but we want to have the platform created first so that way there's actual utility for it. I think we all have seen countless projects that have a phenomenal TGE or ICO or whether it's an IDO, and then the token price just absolutely tanks because there's no utility for it. So for us, it was important to make sure that we had a foundation set and really get feedback from the community on different utilities, not only that we had, but they had. But that is a part of our roadmap. And in terms of being able to get people engaged, it's a lot of what you mentioned. Our community officer, James Turner, does a fantastic job really making it relevant towards everybody and making them feel like they're a part of the process. We chose to try and take the route that we wanted to build a project for the community by the community, because ultimately when you're in that bootstrapping phase, you need as many people that are willing to provide value as possible and really meet them where they're at. So some people are willing to dedicate an hour a week. Some people are willing to donate 40 to 80 hours a week because they're so inspired. And so for us, it's about making sure that it's actually relevant and actionable for them on a weekly basis, getting kind of polls from them on, hey, what type of topics do you want to be able to have? Obviously trying to be able to have that in our Discord and prevalently displayed. So that way they know, hey, that there's a AMA call 2 weeks from now, but we're having a weekly event that we're producing, and then they're seeing the results of that. So one thing that we've tried to be able to introduce for us is a point system. So in a very simplified way, the idea being that the more people engage on our platform, the higher their reputation is going to go and they're going to get extra benefits. And one of those in the future will be getting tokens that they can obviously use on the platform. But in the early stages, we wanted to try and create a point system to where really rewarding early users for providing value, bringing people in, selling profiles, bringing businesses and partnerships. And so the individuals that are getting involved right now are able to be able to earn points that in the future can be converted into tokens. But there's no airdrops or anything that we're doing right now at this stage. It's really just providing value to people, getting them engaged, and really taking their feedback. Because the worst thing you could do is ask for feedback. People give great ideas and then you just ignore them entirely.
Absolutely love it. So yeah, hopefully everyone's listening in because it's obviously working at the moment and the idea is to scale that. But as you said, it's not like a top-down approach here. It's like learning from ideas that are working. And that's why the idea is this is the best growth hack I can do, right? Is then get all the best ideas and say, hey, this is what you should do, right? Everything is working for each startup. We should all probably do. So the idea is to interchange. But just one quick question, and that's exactly how we should be doing and how we're going to talk about it. But is the XP explicitly linked to a token, or is it like a promise in the future, or is it like a raffle? Like how are you linking the reward of the XP points? The fact that you kind of gamify that approach, like how are you linking the value system of it, what the XP is to the community? So maybe it could be tokens, and maybe it could be a whitelist entry, or is there any kind of mechanism in place for that? Or is it simply just like an accrual score that might be converted into something later? Because both approaches are fine because you have something going on, but I'm just kind of wondering, obviously we have to get more defined and granular going forward, but if there's anything in place right now to translate XP into something tangible for the community.
Yeah, so right now at our early stages, it's one of those to where the idea is that it will be converted into tokens. But in the event that we don't create a token, it will have a tangible value to the people. We'll determine a dollar amount, or maybe it's like a credit, for example, that they could use for advertising on the platform. So it will be directly usable. Right now, we've been using kind of an inverse yield curve. If you think about to where something will go down, so the same activity right now will be worth more points than 2 or 3 years from now, because the value that is created from it is much greater the smaller that we are. So we've mathematically ran through a bunch of different formulas that looks great on paper, but we're still trying to be able to flesh a bunch of those out. And once we finalize kind of the tokenomics, when we get to that stage, we will get much more specific. But at its highest level, people understand that those points will be directly usable and it will improve their platform in some form or fashion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Love it. So a massive thank you, Brett. I really appreciate you joining as well. I was really happy that you joined because I think it's a great example where you guys are at and obviously getting to the next stage. And I'll point it out. So I'll take back the screen here for a little bit, but leveraging that example as a good spiral and how to get that going in the right direction going forward, and also just pointing out some of the bad practices that kind of had issues in the past, right? So if you look at kind of getting people involved in your project, everyone nearly starts out as a stranger, and the first thing we're trying to get them to do is just see that we exist, right? As speculators, and the speculating could be investing in the project, you know, as a TGE, could be trying to actually use the project, it could be an investor itself, you know, considering your roadmap or your pitch deck, etc., like that. The idea is to not try to specificize this to the a user or something. This is the community has that spectrum involved, right? But I really loved how Brett's project is rewarding participation in the project, initially with XP points, but the kind of the honesty and the authenticity is saying, look, we're figuring out what this is worth, right? Because the idea is he's going to be designing the token system with the community by finding out which value areas are there. And as value areas emerge, they can reward tokens proportionally, which a big issue that we're seeing, and this is, we'll touch on this further, but it's hilarious. So we did some of the biggest airdrops in crypto when they started out, but the idea is airdrops are hilarious because what you're doing is you're doing a big airdrop to strangers, okay? And you're basically giving away your token without the right design. You're giving away your token to people who are the very top strangers and turning them into speculators. And that has the reverse impact of basically people consistently just getting rewarded for doing nothing to get that initial attraction and awareness, right? But you're now devaluing the token long term because the people you're giving tokens, they're not participating in the project, they haven't done anything, they haven't cared about it. And you're really kind of setting a base for the value system. So by giving away your company to people who are basically speculators at a certain stage, you're sort of devaluing the community to get involved further, because why would they do work for tokens when they're just giving it away for free, or there's a prize pool, or there's a raffle, and you're kind of being too liberal with the mechanism. So there's solutions to this to this problem, but this is a massive problem where we're just basically distributing rewards to people who aren't participating in the project yet. But there is rewards we can distribute to get them involved, and we'll discuss it. But in general, the Web3 flywheel here is kind of a journey for getting people a strategy in place to turn people who don't know we exist into people, right, at least considering it. They're not going to maybe participate and promote, but the idea is to get them from one stage to the next. So they don't know they exist. And 90% of crypto stays here, literally 90%, right? Or Web3, because it's the hardest and the easiest thing to do, right? It's the easiest thing to sell. If I was selling you marketing, right? It's like, okay, I'll sell you Twitter ads, influencer list, PR, you know, they'll find out you exist. A lot of the bad funding cycles were, you know, create a big awareness campaign around speculators before there's even technical product built, just the exit liquidity and repeat. But as we've seen, it doesn't last very long. So we're in a kind of different phase now in the markets where we're trying to build out the participation funnel, and that we'll identify gaps and solutions in those gaps today on today's masterclass. The next phase will be turning people, okay, they're listening to us, they're like considering us, they're kicking the tires, or they're dancing around a Telegram group, right? They're listening to your message, right? And the idea is to get them participating in the wheel, in the growth and the community as well. And this is the big difference between Web 2 and Web 3 marketing, where Web 2 would be kind of media focused, information, trying to get you, you know, convince you, you know, persuasion, all this copywriting. But in Web 3, it's about nearly gamification, it's about value transfer, it's about how can they get involved? You know, what are the actual steps? Can they provide feedback? Can they promote the project? Can they actually, you know, if it's an exchange, can they stake? Can they trade? Can they actually do something in the project, you know? But how are you actually planning to get them from, okay, kicking the tires to actually participating in the project? And traditionally, this is content and education, and they're kind of passive forms, and they need to be there. But the idea is to create more engagement KPIs in terms of getting them involved. And finally, as we do that, there's a trajectory here that if we get this, once we get to this point, at least the wheel is moving, right? Because that's the biggest problem, is that the wheel ends up going backwards, because we never get into the participation stage. So that's one of the biggest issues we'll be solving today. But the idea is once they're happy with the product, and this is obviously dependent on the product, the founders, the ethics, the integrity, you have to have mechanisms to allow them to promote the project. Like a traditional one we've seen is referral things, but we'll be talking about that. But the goal here is obviously when you get to the stage of participants turning into promoters of your project, you're kind of now in the expanded growth wheel phase. So we're going to just point out one more poll here and try to figure out what stage you guys are at. So I'll just jump in.
I love your magic wheel so much.
Yeah, you'll be bored of it for the end of the day, but then you'll remember it for the rest of your Web3 journey, and you'll be like, okay, so it's we'll go back to it, but it's definitely working. So sorry, this is the actual wheel here. So I'm just going to spin it and bring someone else on stage. And okay, all right.
Yeah.
So another
This time it works properly, actually.
another exceptionally exciting project. Hopefully you're on the call. I think Dennis from Storm Trade. Is he here today, or is he?
Yeah, Dennis, are you here?
Yeah, we're here.
Awesome.
However,
Yeah,
I'd
can you
like
please
to
give us a brief
basically,
intro?
I'd like to pass like a microphone to Alexandra. She's actually responsible for marketing and Storm. Since I've already like had a call with William yesterday, I think it would be nice to hear like everything from the perspective of another team member. So Alexandra, stage is yours, please.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, guys. Really nice to meet you. Nice to see you all here. Let me introduce myself. I'm community and SMM manager of Storm Trade. And let me tell a little bit about Storm Trade. We actually built a decentralized leverage trading platform that allows people to trade any kind of assets like crypto, commodities, stock, forex, etc. And we have finished 2 testnets. A week ago, we went mainnet. And it's a really something that we could proud about. And we have a really not big community, small community, but it includes about it includes about 1,000. So sorry, something with my microphone. Let me check it.
We hear you very well.
Sorry, do you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
yes, quite
we
well.
can, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Так. We have community of 10,000 people, and it's not enough for us for such thing at decentralized exchange, I think. And all we try to build is not just community members, not just users. We try to build really ambassadors family. And it's a really nice thing that not only me, community manager, but the whole team interacts with the community, like our devs, our testers, and etc. And I went here to find some ways how to improve our marketing strategy and probably find some ways how to combine users, investors, and ambassadors in the whole family that called community.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for that as well. So just to clarify with Storm, you guys are building on Ton, is that right? And you have you're actually live right now with users trading on your DeFi exchange. Is that correct? Just to double confirm that.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, so you're building on Ton chain, the Telegram ecosystem,
yes,
and
absolutely.
you currently have live traders. You have people actually leveraging already. The platform's sort of in the stage of like it's open and live that you can actually trade on the platform. Isn't that right?
Yes, absolutely. We have 3 trading pairs. It's Ton, BTC, and Ethereum. And people can trade, people can provide liquidity, and it's upcoming stake in future.
And currently, what would be the biggest priority in terms of to get more traders in, to get more people kind of part of the ecosystem as ambassadors? Like, do you have a kind of a priority target kind of community segment that you're trying to market towards? Or is that kind of, is any, exactly specific kind of person that you're targeting to kind of get involved in the community? Is it traders? Is it ambassadors? Is it investors? Could you just share that as well?
Yeah, mostly we have traders in our community. I think we should interact with them more because we have, from myself, don't have enough like trading opportunities, like trading leaderboards, trading tournaments, etc. But we have really good community engagement as a whole. We have active members, a lot of active members, and we launched like a week ago, and I think it's really, really good numbers to have about 100 to 200 people, active members in our community.
Absolutely. I've seen some of the numbers as well. So just the previous marketing that you've done and you're currently doing, how did you get the initial users or the initial audience interested in your solution? Like, what did you actually do so far?
Yes, we had 2 testnets so far. The first one was at the really, really early stage, and the second one was like improved one, and that's it.
This is a great example because you're building an Aton system, and I think there's about 100,000 people in that community as well. And we were mentioning earlier when the first projects was they were limited by the ecosystem hype, whatever like that. But you guys actually are focused directly on people who are already using Ton, right? And then if they're using Ton, now you want them trading on Storm Trade. Would that be right? As in, you're basically your target market right now is people already in the Ton community, the Ton blockchain community.
Yes, for now, yes, absolutely.
And you did a launch on Ton Starter yesterday, I think, as well, like in terms of a community actions they can take to kind of get involved in the marketing in terms of participating. Okay,
yes.
How's that going?
Oh, it's okay. It's totally okay. Ton Starter is our main partner, and they're really good guys who helped us to improve, to launch our product.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, thanks so much for that. So again, it's another good example. They're basically, you're building on Ton, you're kind of in an ecosystem and you're really trying to serve that audience. And that's your kind of like, you have 100,000 people in that community, I think, and trying to bring a solution to that market, which I really liked when I spoke to Dennis yesterday, where he knows the market, right? So a DeFi exchange is nothing new, right? But a DeFi exchange on Ton right now is new. And they're getting the support from Ton, they're getting a support from Ton Starter, and they have a defined market that they're optimizing the product around, and that allows them to kind of solve problems specifically in that market, right? So I think we mentioned yesterday, Dennis, about like issues with like people adapting, for example, to the Telegram stablecoin or the Ton stablecoin, and that is being a bit of a risk averse thing. So there's kind of issues in the wider market, but you have a defined market you're kind of building for. So we'll reference that as well. But congratulations on your success so far. It's another example of a startup on today's call that we can all learn from because they're doing things right, and it's just about kind of taking it to the next step. But just a quick example there, where Ton are and a few of the projects are, where the biggest gap that we're seeing is like there is traditional ways to get people involved in terms of strangers to speculators as in getting seen, right? But a lot of the times we're seeing the biggest problem is that right now, if I was to say, hey, I can get you guys in front of 1 million people, 100,000 people, or 300,000 people, right? How many people would stick? Is now the right time? Do you feel comfortable about like, sending 200,000 people to your project? And the idea is when you have a kind of established structure in place that, there's ways for people to participate in your project, there's ways to participate in the project. The idea is that every time you do a marketing campaign or get in front of more people, you're growing that flywheel again. So this is the key question, and this is the key problem. And it's like we're trying to figure out like where people are going wrong or where things are going right, and to leverage is how do you get people more participating and actually engaging to avoid that big drop off of people find about us, they disappear, they come back, and we start over and over again. And today we're just going to talk a bit about like Ton Starter, these kind of launch pads, these XP things. Really, I'm sure there's, and if anybody could raise their hand, I'm not sure if there's a hand raising mechanism, but if anybody is on Zeely, we're going to leave the wheel for a moment, but could anyone just comment in the chat if you guys are using Zeely as a platform at the moment to, I suppose, to achieve this effect? But I might just ask a few questions about that kind of approach. So, so Brett and is anybody else? So yeah, I'll just throw it over to Brett. So Brett, if you mind asking, if I put you on the floor again here, just you're currently using Zeely, and what's the intention of Zeely and how's it working for you guys at the moment?
Yeah, so that's how we're measuring the XP. So we basically have different tasks that we quickly learned early on that less is more, and to really focus on the value-added activities. So things like, for example, people joining the Discord obviously isn't an XP activity, but being able to refer a business or being able to attend an AMA and be able to participate on that, or in the future, being able to actually drive revenue would be a task that it would be recorded. And then we could be able to see not only within our community who is contributing, but it turns into a gamified model where we could give bonuses based on the total points that are earned. And different activities will be at different price points or like different experience levels. And within Zeely, somebody can be able to look and say, okay, I can earn, for example, one point if I like, comment, share 10 posts, for example, and it's actively tracking all that. So that way it gets more exposure, where if somebody wants to get a larger chunk of XP, they could be able to introduce an investor to us that invests, for example, or bring a partnership to us that agrees to be able to sign a contract, things like that. That's how we're leveraging it.
Sorry there, I was muted, but sorry, that's brilliant. I just like the way straight away from the beginning, you talked about learning how to keep it simple, as in not to overwhelm them with so many things, but that idea of having kind of focused value-added tasks. But a quick question is like, how do you currently, because you haven't invested into marketing, right? Everything's kind of been a bit organic at the moment, right? Ad hoc and trying to get things moving. But how do you kind of get participation onto Zeely, right? Are you relying on people discovering you through Zeely? Because obviously that helps, right? As in if you're on Zeely, new people would find you through Zeely itself. And do you do anything to kind of push people to Zeely? Is it through Discord, or is it through like how do you actually get people to using the Zeely platform? Does it work on both sides in your experience? Or yeah, just letting you answer that one.
Yeah, so the main way that we're doing it, kind of our funnel, is bringing them into the Discord, because that right now is where the bulk of things happen. And then part of kind of that onboarding experience is to really understand and meet them where they're at. So they'll have a quick call with somebody in our community management team. We'll do a group call kind of like this, to where we'll take a few minutes, break down the project. Here's kind of how we could be able to provide value. And then from there, that actually gives them access to the Zeely. So we can be able to capture their information. So they could say, hey, for example, I'm a freelancer looking for work and I focus in community management. Okay, cool. Where can you be able to, like, what's your skill set? What kind of gigs are you looking for? So we can be able to categorize them. And then from there, we can drive them to activities that are in most alignment with what they do. So for example, somebody who's in marketing, being able to like, comment, share, be able to bring people in is much easier for them than going to a developer. So that way we're able to balance different tasks out to different types of users. And then all that integrates into HubSpot. So that way, if we do any mass marketing campaigns, a newsletter, or things like that, we already have a database of users that we can be able to update whenever there's something with the MVP, or whenever there's a massive kind of thing within our roadmap, for example.
Yeah, no, thanks for that again. I just see a question there in the chat regarding one-to-one user targeting, and we'll definitely address that at the end to kind of bring it more granular. In terms of just the flow there, just to recap for everyone here, like they come and they find your Discord, and then you send them from Discord to Zeely, as in you kind of identify where they can participate, and then you host a way they can participate in Zeely. Would that be right?
Correct. So like the funnel for us would be either LinkedIn or Twitter brings them into the Discord. Then from there, they realize how they can be able to engage either through Zeely. And then the bulk of the engagements, all of our information in there is on Discord. So anytime we host, webinars, calls, events, the website, everything is done through that right now.
All right. So do you mind just staying with me for a few more minutes for the benefit of everyone here? Because I think you're doing a great example of what we're trying to get to, at least at the very minimum. But the idea that you have a way of getting them involved, finding them. You have Discord here to kind of get in touch, and then you have a Zeely campaign in the middle. And you said originally that you were doing a Twitter Spaces, kind of an X Spaces. It was a weekly, Brett, or something like that. You were doing a weekly.
Yeah. So we have a weekly call with our community within Discord. So every week there's kind of a dedicated, right now we're working on AI. So it's kind of like an AI builders call. And then there's a call on a weekly basis for everybody that's new to the community. So it's kind of more of an introductory builders call is what we call it, to where it's a much shorter, digestible piece, to where either myself or somebody from our team will introduce the project, really get to know the people that are coming in and understand what are they looking for? Kind of like how you broke down people. Are they speculating? Like, are they investors that are looking to be able to invest in the project? Are they wanting to be able to get into the project when we create a token? Are they a builder? Are they somebody who's going to use the platform? And then from there, kind of direct them based on their responses to ways where they may be able to find value.
Right. So there is okay. So I'm just trying to address maybe two questions. One's here with Martin's question in terms of one-to-one user targeting. try to address a little bit of that now, but also at the moment, how are you attracting new people, right? So obviously they're in Discord, you're doing, for example, in Discord now to keep them engaged and delighted and part of it, right? You have a weekly kind of meeting, specific segmented to different areas, and also you have ZD campaigns and stuff like that to kind of get them involved. But how are you actually getting new people involved? You know, new users, new people who might be involved at the moment? Because I've seen the Twitter and everything like that. I'm just wondering, do you have any active channel to get new people involved in terms of attracting strangers to speculators without, you know, spending 50 grand on marketing, whatever like that?
Yeah, so the main two that we're doing right now has been LinkedIn, which has probably been the most productive because it just fits our target market. So kind of LinkedIn targeted outreach. And then the other one is just through Twitter and kind of connecting through that. But all of that has been organic, non-paid. So being able to kind of use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, for example, or just being able to do direct outreach to kind of our target audience. Like most of us, we've created our target audiences, our target avatars, and then from there we're able to kind of get a much deeper understanding of somebody from their LinkedIn, and then from there it's a direct value prop because we can show, hey, here's what you get on LinkedIn, here's what you could be able to get on our platform when it's live, and that's how
you're doing a live event. You're doing kind of live meetings in Discord. Are you doing live events on LinkedIn or live events on Twitter or X?
We haven't yet. That is kind of in our roadmap. Once we kind of finalize the pivot, is to do more consistent events on LinkedIn as well as on X as well. Right.
So just going to bring a quick growth tactic that I think everyone could even see as a quick example. But in terms of where you guys are at in the in terms of attracting new strangers, using what you're currently doing, as you have a little setup here that's working for you and you're already growing. I've seen the metrics and everything like that. But in terms of taking to the next stage, in terms of bringing new people in without going heavy in the marketing, for example, you could look at doing like a weekly Twitter space, let's say, or X, I'll just call it Twitter for the sake of it, Twitter spaces or LinkedIn kind of event, right? So it's the same kind of format that you're doing, right? And that's what we're talking about, measuring, like how active is the new people, the current community, and then who shows up live, you know, instead of being distracted by big followers. Is there people tuning in, listening? Is there more people tuning in? Like today's call today with Masterclass, you know, can you get more people tuning in? So the idea is that would help you, let's say it's on Twitter, that can you actually promote that as an event to get people tuning in, new people tuning in, then getting them into Discord, then sending them into ZD and getting more further involved into the product to attract people. But with your current community setup that you guys have participated, the idea is that you can leverage that to get more people, you know, let's say promoting that actual Twitter spaces, right? So you can actually reward them, what you said, with the XP points to actually promote the Twitter space directly through ZD or through whatever mechanisms you have, and sharing that Twitter spaces. So they're now promoting it, and they're actually feeling part of actually sharing the thing. But also you reward them at the moment. You reward them for participation in the Discord, meetings, Brett.
Sometimes, yes. Yeah. So it depends. Like just attending one isn't necessarily, but if they're attending and they're providing value, it's kind of up to the community management team's discretion. So it kind of varies.
This is a big problem when you go live, right? In terms of the social platform. So in Discord, it's great, everyone's talking, right? But on Twitter and LinkedIn, nobody wants to show up to an empty party, right? So making sure your current community is showing up live on Twitter at the start, right? And then more and more people will be like, oh, what's happening here? There's something happening, there's something worth tuning in, right? So it's really important to get the community out of Discord. And it doesn't, not everyone will, but get them on Twitter spaces, on LinkedIn events, right? And that allows other people to join the party and feel like there's something going on and kind of build that snowball further and further. So the idea is to have a kind of incentive mechanism to actually get them participating in the Twitter space to show up. And now you have a way of, you know, encouraging actually people to participate in the marketing, that they're actually feeling like they're part of it, they're part of discussions, they might raise hands, and you're actually engaging them. But on the Twitter space as well, like there's things you can do. For example, is you could do a raffle, you could do a reward. You know, one person who showed up, you know, you could give them a giveaway or bonus XP points or bonus tokens in the future. So you could do like a raffle for everyone who attends, the same way we did a giveaway here that everyone who shows up will get a kind of a growth roadmap and a growth kit or tactical engine and a workshop call, etc. like this. But you could do kind of a raffle giveaway prize or something like this for all attendees, right? And this is like you can do this through Discord, so we can kind of give it away to Discord. And now you're kind of in this participation, you're rewarding that, but now you're delighting them. So you're kind of leveraging that one tactic, right? But you're amplifying with the community, getting the participation going, and then people just see there's a party happening and they're getting rewarded, right? And it's something that I would really consider everyone looking at, instead of just doing a Twitter space and hoping that people show up, is to get the community knowing it's involved, but incentivize them to get involved and to share it and to leverage that as a milestone, because people showing up is a really cool example of that. 1 second, I'll try to show a case study of what happens when you do something like that. Here. Just to clarify, have you done a weekly Twitter Spaces or a LinkedIn event yet, Brett? At all? Basically, you haven't done it yet.
No, we haven't, but we've done all the other stuff. So that's how we do it, is a raffle giveaway for people that are attending and participating. So,
cool. So yes, you're basically doing the raw mechanics, right? You're doing the same steps, I would say, already as it is, except you're doing it behind closed doors in Discord. Would that be right?
Yes, it's kind of been trying to be able to figure out we've been doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff to try and be able to get the infrastructure correct before we get on LinkedIn or Twitter, because like you said, nobody wants to go to a party where no one else is there. So being able to have enough of a following and consistent engagement and really get that refined on a smaller scale before you do that outreach, because you brought up the question, how can we be able to support 1 million people? And right now, the last thing that you want is to try and be able to bring those people in too early, because you run into that problem of, okay, yeah, you get all this exposure, but then they leave because there's not the value for them. And then that can also tank a project. So that was kind of the approach, but we are very much so looking at being on Twitter and LinkedIn and doing more of those outreach that way. That's a phenomenal idea.
No, brilliant. So it's like, that's the kind of area that we're talking about, like getting the things working in your wheel right instead where you guys are at, and then expanding it. But it's just basically one extra step, right? You're just adding one thing to the funnel, but you still have the mechanisms. So it kind of takes away the excuses that there's no hype, there's no market, there's all these constraints, that you're still able to master what you're doing. And then as the market kind of picks up, but just an example that we've seen of a project doing this, where they did a Twitter Spaces here, and it was the same approach where they do a Twitter Spaces as an incentive for people to share it and promote it. They're able to get from 0 to nearly 1,000 people tuning in for the first time, 25,000 impressions, people sharing it about. And at that stage, they had like 5,500 followers, but leveraging the kind of rough strategy that you were already doing with Discord, but putting it on Twitter Spaces, getting people to promote and participate, and then everyone who tunes in would get a raffle. So all the strangers are like, hey, I want a part of that next time. So they get involved. But that's what happens when you think of it like a wheel. This is what we're saying as a wheel is in, okay, we have a different event and we're trying to think of the full wheel. As a tactic, a competitor would see all the promotion and they would try to do the exact same thing. So this is an example, Big DeFi, they're a big project. They had 45,000 followers, and they see this project getting their Twitter Spaces advertised on the 17th of August. So a much bigger company, well-funded, they're like only copy and paste as a tactic, as a funnel. We'll do one as well. But there's no community participation, so it kind of flops, right? So they do 45,000, they do the exact same thing, Twitter Space on the same day, 17th of August, but only 349 people tune in and 1,000. So if you look at actually, a correlation in terms of the following to engagement rate, just doing the simple tactic with kind of getting the community involved will grow exponentially. So imagine if there's 50,000 people following this and it's the same 10, 20% conversion rate, you're talking about, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. And it's the same strategies, the same energy. It's just kind of creating these mechanisms for the community to get involved. And one example of that is Zeely, which is what you guys are currently using. There's another one that there's another approach that we're discussing today. But in general, like what we find Zeely is really good for is getting new people involved into the project, if anything, right? As in people who are looking at Zeely, it's actually a discovery platform for people to participate in the project. But the idea is to create these mechanisms for people to get involved at every stage of your project, and to create that reward infrastructure to enable that. And the idea is, instead of giving away tokens for people to promote it, is that way you can give XP points, you can give whitelist entries, you can give different things. And the idea is that you try to keep tokens for people participating in the project directly, as it might be staking on an exchange, it might be actually signing up and using it as a freelancer or something like this. So you're saving the tokens for people actually participating in the project, not participating in the marketing, and you leverage different kind of gamification rewards there. So I just want to, I think there's one example of someone, they do something. I think Yuri's on the call from Claimer. So I'm not sure if you're on the call, could you just put your hand up there?
Yeah, I'm here.
He is here.
Yeah, cool. So you're kind of operating in the same solution space here in terms of getting people who are looking at the project involved and rewarded around the actual product, around participating in the product. So I'd just love to give you the floor there to introduce like the problem statement you're solving, the kind of issues that you're finding with startups that you work with in terms of what we're talking about and getting them engaged. And yeah, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, hi guys. First of all, like super excited being here, Nelly and Will. Great thing that you're doing here because I see there are a lot of issues. I've seen probably over 150 projects for last 3 months, and everybody seems to be having the same issue. Is basically how to build a community that actually not just silently sitting in your Twitter, doing nothing and waiting for an airdrop, but actually participating, actually being involved in your project. And this is exactly that we are trying to solve, and it seems to be doing pretty well. So basically, we're trying to unfold this idea of engagement because engagement seems to be just a word that nobody really understands what it actually means. And most of the time, if you think about what's the ideal profile of your user, what actually you want your user to actually do with your project, you basically want your user to share your offers. You want to leave them to leave the reviews. You want them to bring new friends, bring their friends to your project to basically. But there has to be a reason why they're doing it, right? And most of the time, what we see over and over with most of the Web3 projects is that most of the time you have the idea that all the projects, basically 99% of the projects we've been talking with, they mostly focused on awareness. They try to basically initially to show off their project either through PR or maybe through ads or influencers. And as soon as they get like a few tens of thousands of users on their Twitter, then what, right? So what seems to be happening with most of the founders' mind is that they, of course, in love with the project, they think that what they're doing is great and everybody have to like completely understand what they're doing. And in my experience, I've been working a lot with corporate. I've been actually working in selling SaaS. I've been selling to Rolls-Royce, Google, Microsoft, Spotify, a lot of other projects. What we're seeing over and over throughout the years is that there are a few things that we need to keep in mind. First of all, most clients don't understand what you're doing because they're most likely going to spend 25 seconds on your website. And if you're going to ask them what this project been doing, they have no idea. And the only way to make them understand what you're doing, to getting excited, is that they need to come over and over to your project, right? So they need to understand the value that you provide. And this is the whole idea of touch points. And this is basically any salesperson in any other industry than Web3, everybody understands, is that before the purchase, if like the only exception going to be the bull market, you need to generate 8 to 12 touch points with your project before your potential client going to understand what exactly you're doing. Because for getting excited and start to actually refer your project, start to bring new users, start to share information, start to write reviews, they actually need to understand. They had to first understand what you're doing, right? So, and how would you generate these touch points? This is the answer, the question, right? Because if you just like focus on your PR, if you just focus on influencer marketing, okay, maybe once your potential client just came to your website and maybe signed to your Twitter. But what we see over and over that the projects, even with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, we see like dramatically low engagement rate. And the reason is that most of the time what project think going to happen is that they're going to tell the little story, and then everybody comes and just purchase the token. And then afterwards, for some reason, they're going to come back and start to engage with you over and over. And it most of the time, it doesn't happen. And the reason it doesn't happen because you're basically competing for the attention of your users with everybody else. You compete with Netflix, you compete with ChatGPT, you compete with HBO, you compete with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of them. And there have to be a reason why users would share information about you, bring their friends, or accomplish any kind of actions. And actually what you want them to do while they're doing all of this, you want them to come back to your project over and over and over and over. And in ideal case scenario, you're basically training your users, and there have to be some kind of system of incentives that incentivizes them to come back to your product, to your landing page, or to your Discord, doesn't matter. And they had to have a reason why would they do that, because otherwise we are lazy. All of us, like if you ask yourself, how often do I bring new users or I tell my friends about certain project, and most likely going to be once a year. And this has basically become a huge blind spot within the huge market. And watch most of the time users, like what projects are doing, they say, okay, they focus on something like Zilli, and Zilli is great. Like it attracts users, right? But as soon as you attracted its users and these users came to your product, what afterwards? And afterwards, we basically, most of the time, we have a little bit of magical thinking. We're thinking that as soon as they come, they will understand. And what happens most of the time, they come, they subscribe, and in the end they do nothing, right? You can have like thousands of subscribers, and in the end just a few that actually done anything, and the only reason they done it because, well, maybe it's like a few dozens of your raving fans, and then you just wait and think like, what's wrong with me? And there is actually nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your project. The only reason is that they basically just forget about you. And so what we are doing basically, we build this product called Claimer, and Claimer basically it's just integrated solution. You just integrate it within your web app or mobile application, and it allows you to basically set up your campaign of quests. So basically some of our clients call it social coordination tool that's specifically focused on increasing your engagement. And what engagement is about? It's basically about retention. You want your users to come back over and over to your product so they can train, they're getting used to your product. They're getting used that this thing actually exists. It start to pop up in their mind. This is why you need to generate these touch points. You want them to bring more friends. And you also want them to actually share information. You want them to write the reviews. You want them actually to fill in the forms, maybe create certain content, but you don't want to that they were actually going to do it somewhere outside of your product. Because if they're doing it somewhere like Zilli, it's great for Zilli because Zilli actually getting retention. Zilli actually getting engagement. Some of the users getting back to you, but then they churn. And so how we do that? You basically have a line of code, you insert it into your website, and now you can basically automate and create quests and contests. You can reward your users for basically visiting your website on a daily basis. So you can incentivize them basically to create certain on-chain actions. So maybe write a review. So maybe as soon as they bring your friend, you can incentivize and give them reward, and it not specifically have to be something like a token, right? It might be a Discord role, it might be raffle entry, it may be even a subscription to some SaaS product or some PDF, it doesn't matter. So if it's like a digital entity, you can reward your users for doing that. And most of the time, if you think about your ideal users, you want 100% of your users to bring all of their friends to your product. You want all of them to write reviews somewhere on Dex Tools or CoinMarketCap. You want all of them to share your offer. You want all of them to perform certain action, but you do not want them to leave your ecosystem, right? So Claimer's mission is basically to increase engagement of the product because objectively speaking, there is not an issue to bring more users for the first time to your product, right? You can pay for PR, you can pay for influencers, but this is great, but what afterwards? If you think that they're going to convert, especially on a crypto winter, on that market, immediately going to convert, like considering also recession, most likely it would not happen. And the only way it's going to happen if that's going to be something called IKEA effect. And IKEA effect is a very great term. I think that was completely overlooked in crypto and very much like companies like Facebook been focusing on it. So what is IKEA effect, right? So for example, if you go to IKEA and you buy yourself a chair, imagine you have two completely same chairs, right? The one was actually set up by somebody else and the one that you actually set up by yourself. So we know very well that as soon as you set up, as soon as you invest your energy and time into something, you start to value it more and more. This is the reason why Facebook has a retention. This is the reason why Instagram has a retention. Because when you come to these products, you basically being pushed to invest your time, you upload your photos, you make posts, and it becomes a thing. This is your IKEA chair. So Claimer tried to give this option to make any projects in IKEA chair. The more people actually being involved, the more you give them this automatic mechanics are actually doing it. You incentivize doing that. This is the only way. You need to train them. Because otherwise, the idea that they're going to stick by themselves, it's a little bit magic thinking. Most of the time, it doesn't happen. Maybe it could happen in the beginning of internet. There was like no proper projects, nothing really to engage with. This is because there was no other option. And now you have basically tens of thousands an option. And we're seeing it happening over and over. We're seeing that actually our clients been actually incentivizing users to coming back to Twitter spaces. We have like tens of thousands of forms filled in with user research where users replying what kind of YouTube channel they're watching, because why would you choose this influencer over that influencer? You just need to ask your community, right, straight away. And what we see happening over and over, that this kind of the resource that you have, the community, it's never really being completely utilized most of the time. Because most of the time we see marketers struggling. They have this, let's say, 30,000 subscribers on Twitter, and they start to post something like having this idea that for some reason the people going to come back, going to read their news, their integrations. We have to be completely clear. Most of the time, users do not care whom you had partnership with, right? They're going to be just a few of them who will be. What they are interested in is basically they want to have some kind of gamified experience, because one of the reasons why people using Web3 and crypto, besides just speculation, besides just ideology, is for having fun. And you need to provide them this idea of having fun, because if you think that having fun is basically just reading a Twitter feed, most likely for the user is going to have something more fun to do. And Claimer just give you this incentives gamified layer that can be integrated within the product. And basically within a few clicks, you can create anything you want. It might be either daily quests, it might be weekly quests, it doesn't matter. It might be both on-chain or off-chain, it doesn't matter. So in our case, we support every single platform on the internet regarding the Web2. We support like 20 different blockchains, and it's just up to your imagination. What exactly do you want your users to do, right? And it's very much aligned with what we've been saying, because we've also been thinking in the idea, okay, so how we turn our initial users not only to speculators, but to participants, because as soon as they participate, they start to value project more. As soon as they value project more, they start bringing new users. So what we've seen with our clients is that one claimer, or we consider just one user who participated in this contest, they bring 3 more users on top of that. And what does it mean to the project? You basically spend less money on marketing, and you just see more engagement on the user side. They're getting more excited. And actually the case that we've been showing, like with Clink, it was done with Claimer, with one of the older version, but still, because if you do it by yourself manually, it's an immense amount of work, right? So you need the whole team that's going to like establish all these quests all the time, or you need to bring your users to some external platform like Zeely, but then retention is basically not yours. You train your users to use Zeely, you do not train your users to use your own project.
Yeah, I'll just jump in there, Yuri, as well, I suppose, from the, because also you're speaking from the what's technically possible, and I'm supposed probably spoken from the growth community kind of incentivization, community growth aspect in terms of what tools, like this is basically the now and the future of like what Web3 marketing looks like to address this problem, right? Because this is the most common situation that you either had in micro or the macro, or as Yuri pointed out, the magical thinking that this is not going to happen. But a big thing is before you invest, we already discussed it, before you invest in any marketing in terms of promotion, especially, the idea is before that you have at least an initial sort of wheel, as in you have an initial journey that there's kind of mechanisms to get involved in, you know, in terms of even if it is Zeely, even if there's a Discord group, even if there is a way to participate. And what really Zeely and Claimer allows you to do is get people participating in the project, right? And I think Brett had a really good example of keeping it simple. So the way we would nearly look at it is there's 3 key ways to participate for every project. Is one is to actually promote the actual project in terms of Twitter, getting it shared out, incentivizing that, providing feedback. You know, you're building the product with the market, incentivizing, building that community before you even launch. You know, so you're building this core kind of community, and then to produce value in the ecosystem. That could be staking, that could be using the protocol if it's a protocol, trading in an exchange if an exchange, providing liquidity, etc. That's normally dependent on each product. But the idea is you should have like 3 key areas where people can get involved in the project and to outline them for the community. So it's not just relying on you guys telling people what to do, that it's really super clear on how to get involved. The difference, I suppose, that we're seeing with actually on the ground floor, working with campaigns is when you work with Zeely, it's great for discovery for new people, but you can't invest in that as a platform because you're basically, as you said, nearly advertising Zeely at this stage, you know, as in you're promoting Zeely as a campaign, and then you guys are one of the many, right? So what the tools like Claimer are kind of doing is you can build it in your own community page, have your own kind of structure approach, and push that as the campaign and send people to that campaign instead of to Zeely's platform. It's just like a next step above that, but you're really then harnessing the wheel, and you can kind of get more creative with what you can do. And I just a few quick points in that to address some of the other problems that we're seeing as well, is that a big thing here is like everyone loves these kind of countdowns, these big milestones, and this is one of the other reasons where you see this big drop off. You know, there's normally a pre-seed and there's a test net and there's a bit of a launch around that in terms of maybe getting on the whitelist, you know, so everyone's getting excited and it drops off. Then kind of everything goes quiet for a while. The next thing, there's a mainnet launch and everyone's getting hyped for that. That launches, and then there's a TGE, right? And afterwards, as Yuri kind of pointed out in terms of magical thinking, this is like the idea that you're relying on these 3 key milestones that are working to get that attention, to get people engaged, and then what happens afterwards. And the idea is that with having your kind of community program, you can kind of leverage that time throughout. So the idea is you could do a series of quests to get involved for 2 weeks and have that as a countdown. And it doesn't matter what phase you're in. The idea is that you can do this to support the project in the next 2 weeks 2 weeks, and then we start distributing the awards, highlight that we're participating in promoting our community, and taking it from there. So the idea is to leverage time for your favor instead of, okay, these are 3 key milestones, but what happens next? What happens after? What happens between? And these are the biggest problems that we've been seeing today. With one of the first people who stood up on the stage was they did the kind of initial technical testnet and it kind of died off again, and now they're trying to go back again. But the idea is that having ways the community, for example, you can provide feedback, you can actually be part of it, and to leverage this going forward to kind of create that flywheel approach. The other area we're seeing is instead of giving away your tokens to speculators, is the idea that you can use XPs and raffle entries and whitelists and different kind of gamification rewards to get people promoting the project. So that's infinite then. So you're not trying to just giving away basically you're giving away your token to promoters who are then promoters, and then it's just an endless loop that there's no one actually using your product. So the way we nearly separate those things really simply is to give away some sort of gamification reward, whether it's a raffle entry, whether it's an XP point to something else, or whether there's an ecosystem to get people promoting it, but then to save your tokens and to save the kind of value system to get people participating in the project, to distribute them correctly. And that's one key area to do. To support that, just going to quickly just jump into like a kind of a structure. The idea is that you lay out your different ideas at different stages of the funnel here. So the idea is that you can isolate different areas you can do, then identify areas you can get attention, then identify areas where the community can support you, whether it's feedback or to highlight that attention, and different areas. And another example I've seen recently with a startup is that they're doing like a product hunt launch, so they could do a product hunt launch and get seen for the first time by product hunt users, and it could be, okay, great, they're promoting it, they're tracking it. But the idea is if they have an incentive that, hey, we're going to list on product hunt next week, and there's an incentive for the community to upvote them on product hunt, basically to highlight trending people. Okay, now you're actually getting the community involved, right? Because they want to be involved and get paid and get aligned to it, but you're getting them involved, but it's also highlighting that promotion. And what happens then is you end up being trending on product hunt, right? So the idea is that if you have a 1,000 people community, you launch it a day, now you're one of the trending people, now you're getting new strangers coming in for the first time. And the idea is to unlock the community as your distribution channel, is the point, because it'll amplify everything for the flywheel. But obviously before you start investing money into influencers, ads, all this kind of stuff, is that having the community infrastructure in place will 10x that, 10x that, because first of all, the community can push that further. Second of all, it can distribute it further. And third of all, everybody who comes in, they can either become a user, they might be interested in investing, they might be an actual investor, they might be investing into the project as a user. But if they're not ready to become a user, they can still partake in the community and push the project further through promotion and eventually become a user as you interact with them. So a part of today's thing is like the idea is to leverage the community in the mindset. Everyone today on this call, we'll be giving you a roadmap to align these areas, because the idea is that we're seeing things like tactics and so we're going to give a roadmap to everybody who's attending today in terms of aligning your Web3 marketing to make sure you're covering these steps so that you can unlock these different channels, and also a bit of the tactical growth engine, so to prioritize ideation, prioritization, execution. I'm just going to give it back to the floor one more time as well, to open up the floor for questions, to make it more directly tangible today to everyone tuning in. So just give me a second here, find my magic wheel. Let's see if we can get someone new, because I think there's a few people gone over the top here. So I'm not sure if Ark is still on the call, but if not,
our consensus. So guys from our consensus, are you still here? I don't think so. I think they could.
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, okay. Okay, awesome.
Yep.
It's a magic wheel. It's a magic wheel. It only picks people listening in, Nelly. I just throw it over to you, Sergi, I think from Ark. And if you could just tell us about exactly where you guys are at, where you currently are at, about yourself, the company, where you guys are at, and maybe specific kind of growth problems that you guys are facing at the moment.
Yeah, actually, we are Ark Consensus, and our main product is ArcSign. Mm-hmm. And ArcSign is a unique mix of AI and Web3 technology, mm-hmm. because it's based on a crypto wallet, but it's a lot of more than that. Our solution allows people to send crypto using only people's face. Mm-hmm. You just didn't have to remember person's wallets, all this 20, 30 digits and something. You just need to take a photo and send the crypto. And even if the person doesn't have a crypto wallet, our AI will create a wallet for him, and he will receive his money, and he will register in our system, in our wallet. So it will have many user cases, and we are hoping that the project will blow the market. At the moment, we raising the seed round. We have our app released in App Store and Google Play already, and the feature I talk about previously about sending crypto by the face is working. You can test by yourself, so it's cool. And but the problem is we were so focused on the product, we didn't bother much about the community, and now we have like 500 users on downloaded our app, and we have not too much we involved in our like Twitter or Telegram, because we have previously invested DAO, like DAO invested in our project previously, and we have a good connection with this DAO. We have like 100 active users supporting us and everything in Telegram, and we have like a channel about 1,000 people which are looking for they look for they following us and following our news. And the main challenge right now is to raise the money, actually, from my point of view. From marketing point of view, like we're looking for like less costly solutions to expand our community at the moment.
Exactly. So like you're currently, I think you said you're raising the seed round. Was that right? You've done pre-seed in the current
we previously have raised $360,000 throughout the year, and we build our solution out of this money, and now we're raising 1 million.
Okay, and are you planning to have a token and do a token generation event at any stage as well, or is that part of the roadmap?
We do have a token already, and we do have a token already. We just didn't sell it publicly. We sold it to our DAO users and not to public. And we look into ways to sell this sell the token to venture funds, crypto funds. We are not thinking about public TGE yet because the market conditions are harsh for the moment. So we don't think it will work for us. So it's not the issue at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit like you want to be prepared when the market is, prepared for your opportunity. So there's no kind of look involved, so that the kind of the systems in place now, because obviously we had this you obviously have the issue now where you release the product live, and now you kind of how do you get to the next users, But you actually you're already congratulations on your success so far. So you're actually live on the App Store with users. So technically your product is working and it's live, etc. right now. And I guess to raise this,
Sorry, actually, it already generates small amount of revenue because people making the transactions, and we have the part of the transactions in our ecosystem. But it's small, but it's already live. So we actually generating generating some revenue.
No, congratulations. That's one of the hardest points to get to. But currently now you're kind of raising, I suppose, your next round to push on marketing even further, to push on the development of the product. Would that be right? As in terms of funds and everything from the investors. And currently, are you growing or is it stagnating? Is it like, okay, you have your base users, you're not getting more new users in, and you're planning to raise the money to get new users, or are you actually trying to show a traction narrative to say, hey, we're growing, we need to expand our marketing, and that's why you're raising the seed line? What's the current narrative that you're doing leveraging at the moment?
It's hard to say. Actually, right now we're actively talking with the funds, investors, accelerators, and so on to try to get to know what market wants from us at the moment. So far the response was great. You have a live product, you're generating some revenue, but you don't have any community online. But mostly that feedback was from launchpads, accelerators that say proposing the services for startups. So probably we are looking for low-cost ways to accelerate our community, and until we raise more to start proper marketing campaign.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like the first thing I think today, just in terms of where you guys are at, is that just itemize ways of getting the current community of users even involved, right? As in, hey, having a program in place that you have a token of some sort anyway, so you could use an XP or whatever like that. But the idea is, they cost nothing, right? As in, you can list the different ways they can promote, they can share, they can get involved in the promotion and the participation of the project straight away, and see, okay,
Yep.
is there any action and alignment on that? Or are people currently using it? But at the very least, and if you do any kind of push on marketing, that it goes into that flywheel approach when you have a go-to-market strategy that, like, okay, basically the more people coming in and get involved will push it forward. The one question I would have there though is the app itself is it's, you send crypto is it biometric as the verification? Like you say, you send crypto with your face.
It's like combining AI with Web3. By AI, I mean for AI neural networks, which scan your face,
Yes.
put the data into the blockchain in terms of like vector on IPFS, and then this IPFS will connect it to the blockchain address created in the wallet. So you have to, all remember all your friends' wallets, addresses, and so on. You just put your name. The second option, you can just put name of your friends or his social ID and send the crypto. And if he's in the system, it will find him. But anyway, then the most fascinating thing is actually you can use people's faces from social media or from video conference like Zoom, and it will still find its recipients.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, there's definitely like cool incentives that you can build around like actually that feature as well, right? In person and the use case and all that. But basically at the moment, do you have any way for that audience to get involved? Is there a ZD campaign or an incentive campaign to get involved in the marketing? Is there any way to get the users involved in the marketing and the growth of the project?
Yeah, I mean, there are some ways, but we are mainly focused at the moment with a fundraising campaign.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what we're saying at the beginning is that, like, it's a bit of a chicken egg scenario where the investors want to see community and traction and all that, right? And we're not talking about investing any money here. We're talking about, okay, if you do just outline, simplified after the workshop today, outline different ways the community can get involved, obviously promoting, sharing it publicly on Twitter Spaces, on LinkedIn and things like that, but kind of looking at unique ways you can leverage your product itself, as in using the Face ID, showing cases off that and getting people involved, but building that structure in place right now for your existing users would be the cheapest way, straight away, right? And then when you're investing it, you can obviously amplify that flywheel going forward. I'm just going to throw it over to one more person as well to get everyone hopefully hear a chance to kind of tell their stories a bit. So Vlad, I think you've been tuning in as well. So Vlad, if you could just if you're still there, could you just step on the floor and just give us a bit of an intro from obviously yourself, the project you're representing, and where you guys are currently at.
Hey guys, amazing insight up to this point. So I'm from Coreto. We are building a decentralized reputation protocol, let's sort of say. And what we are aiming right now is to build this ecosystem in which we bring on multiple platforms and we provide them with the support of helping their users to build up a decentralized reputation card, which can then be ported and be moved between platforms. So we provide them the interoperability of users to port the reputation of what they are doing within one platform to get additional perks and benefits into another. So this means that we're having multiple use cases, but we're focusing on DeFi, gaming, social apps. So as like you guys been mentioning so far, users are already nomads, right? Like their attention span is pretty low. So through our solution, we want to act as a plugin for platforms so that in the long term, they will be able to better improve their onboarding campaigns to attract users from other chains, from other ecosystems, to give them benefits and additional support into this new platform that they are moving. So to take an example,
are you targeting? So you're targeting nearly it's the classic B2B to C, right? You're targeting other businesses to get integrations. And is your product technically ready in terms of what stage you're currently at?
Yes,
is it like ready to integrate?
Yes, right now we are we can call it into an alpha stage. We have the three main pillars in place. One is the collecting service. The other one is storing it on the decentralized ledger. We are launched on the NEAR protocol. And the third component is our algorithms analyzing the user's actions and converting them into, let's call them simple trust points or performance points. And this will go back to the target platform for them to also be able to show it within their user profile, and also in looking forward to use that reputation data for their own user analytics. So in the long haul, we aim to use all this interoperability and all this exchange of data between platforms and ecosystems to build like a decentralized user analytics based on their activities and based on their proven track records.
And do you have current users at the business level? Like, do you have any extra people integrating it? Or are you integrating it yourself, as in terms of your current market that you're serving?
We've been integrating within our own platform. So we have also like a reputation-based research hub, the Coreto platform, in which users, based on their the content that they create, the way the community interacts with each other, the accuracy of your, let's say, trading predictions right now. So all of that is already integrated into our own platform. We have somewhere around 3,000 users. But we've seen in the last month a downturn in terms of active users, both weekly and daily. And our focus right now is on integrating this system within other platforms and other ecosystems to get even more market fit, because this is intended to be, like you said, a B2B2C product, secondary than our own platform.
No, absolutely. So you're kind of basically nearly using your own platform to get that initial, the community kind of showcases as examples to then get the other B2B projects integrated. So you're using your kind of own platform as a showcase for the community, as a community, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And right now, we're happy that we are in talks with other 6 platforms from DeFi, social, and now in gaming to do exactly that.
And what were you hoping to what was the current problem maybe you're hoping to kind of solve today or learn about today, or is any kind of current objectives that you're hoping to get from this workshop?
What we've been seeing as we've been discussing with different platforms from both the NEAR ecosystem, because we wanted to, of course, at first develop within our home ecosystem, which is the NEAR protocol. And the main issues that we've been seeing here in the NEAR protocol is the low user activity that it's been having lately. And although we are in advanced talks with a few projects here, the roadblock comes in terms of having them to allocate the development power needed to do the integration, which right now isn't difficult. So yes, it does involve a few hours, but that's all. Because part of the next phase of our development is to create a seamless onboarding procedure in which projects can onboard themselves and integrate it.
How do you incentivize people to use it on your current platform? How, like, you have how do you say you have used gamification? Do you use XPs? Do you have a token, or how does that work at the moment?
Yes, we have a token, which right now, so basically by users doing what they are already doing, which is they share content about the project they followed. Maybe they are also traders and they share their opinions. We do it in a paper trading way, but it's also a way for them to test their ideas and their strategies. They have a way in which they can grow an audience, a following. So what they are using the token for is they can create an opinion. They can back that opinion with the token, and their followers can come and pledge to that said opinion, and others that can also come and challenge that opinion, saying they have another perspective of the market. So it's creating an opinion pool, a staking of opinion pools over there. So the market conditions will, in the end, say exactly which party was right or wrong. And we've been creating a mechanism in which the losing party does not lose all of its token, and the winning party doesn't win also. It's not, we try to make it as a win-win. And based on that results, it will transform the reports within our algorithms as performance, if you're a trader, or in trust, depending on how the community interacts with your content and that opinion itself. I think you're muted.
Will, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I was just wondering, does that scale to people who integrate Pareto, or is it only for your own kind of platform in terms of the predictions?
That right now is what I've been saying right now. It's for the people using our own platform. And we are developing ways in which to integrate the token use case within the other platforms and projects that will adopt the DRS, the decentralized reputation system over there.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll probably follow that up on, I try to get everyone speaking today, but like I would still like make a priority is to keep growing your own community, right? Because the more experiments you can run, the more use cases you can show, that the more you have that community engaged, you don't just forget about the community, you start focusing on B2B and all these integrations, right? Because as long as you're continuously incentivizing growing and getting experiments running with your own platform, the best showcase is like, you know, case studies, proof of results, and it will be much, much easier to integrate with other B2B platforms. One, because you can show that it's working the way you're doing it and offering it. And two, you actually have a community that you can really bring to those other platforms that might do it in a specific way, right? So the focus, I would probably, can't go into detail now, but the idea is to not just go, okay, we have a community, it's dying, okay, let's go to B2B now to get integrations or partnerships, is to consistently have a way of engaging and getting them some of the, you know, apply some of the things we do today, but getting that community kind of at least growing and more engaged and trying out new experiments with your current solution, which is great because you actually, you know, you're doing what you're saying instead of just talking. But that would be much easier than to close deals with other B2Bs or to bring that community to those integrations, you know, when you're doing announcements and shares. So your value proposition there will expand into the network. But we'll follow that one up afterwards. And I'll just give Osman a chance as well. So Osman, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right, but if you're still here, if you could just give a shout out to your role, the project you're representing, and we just have a quick recap of where you guys are at.
Yeah, sure, I'm here.
Yeah, so yeah, the floor is yours, man. I'll just get the helper slide there for you. But yeah, if you could just tell us about, like, you know, yourself, obviously the project you're representing, and we'll just kind of jump into a quick preview where you're at, maybe unlock some of the next steps.
Yeah, I'm a co-founder of the Snotra. I was the first guy who was introducing it.
Yeah, Osman was pitching his project at the very beginning. You remember Snotra?
Snotra, NFT lending, NFT liquidity.
No, absolutely. So I introduced you as Snatcher, but it's great to actually get your name now, because at that stage we're still on the wheel. But, I think that means, like, in a good way, I think we've addressed everyone's at least one problem. So just for the benefit of people tuning in afterwards and everything like that, everyone today we'll follow up with sort of a kind of a roadmap of getting things into place for your marketing and an actionable, like, kind of growth engine of getting the community involved and the marketing channels working in your favor. We were able to do an individual workshop with everyone to leverage those two assets together. The biggest thing today, I think we're really trying to get across from different angles, and we've seen good case studies of people doing it, is to really focus on having these things in place that the community, the people you can get involved, can actually kind of participate in the project. So the idea is, it's not, once you get their attention, how do they participate in the project, and to integrate that into your marketing strategy, to not separate them. And we went through a few case studies today. So we'll be able to follow up with everyone on the workshop today with an individual call. We'll give you the assets and we'll get you that sent over. And yeah, absolutely. We always, I think, learn more by hearing other people's experience, what's working, their problems, and I think a lot of them can correlate. Obviously, to jump into more detail, we probably need to do it individually. But another kind of exciting just to hear the different, you know, the different stages you're at. It's always really super exciting to hear from different projects, different visions, different problems and solutions being solved. But for now, I'll throw it back to Nelly to wrap things up. And yeah, over to you, Nelly.
Thank you so much, Will. And I know that it has been around 2 hours and you're probably exhausted to talk that much and to give such an intense and concentrated content. within this period of time. But just before we finish, I thought maybe if you have few more minutes, could we give an opportunity for founders here to ask you a question?
Yeah, I just opened the floor there to any specific questions. Hopefully I did try to give everyone a chance to obviously get in the pedestal and talk about their specific problem. And I think we covered everyone, but I'll just give one last chance there if anyone has a burning question that wasn't addressed so far.
Okay, so if there are burning questions, Osman, I see you are still unmuted. So do you want to ask a question to Will that was not covered yet?
Yeah, actually, I have a lot of questions, but it's specific to Snotra's position, and as the William explained, it depends on our budget, our condition, such as. But the biggest problem was which I mentioned before, and how can I create a hype if I'm in an unhype ecosystem? So this is my biggest question, and I hope I can find the answer for it.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I can answer, like you pay them, right? So do you have any sort of incentive program at the moment? As in, is there any kind of mechanism to give them tokens or give them like giveaways or referrals, or like do you have a way of getting them involved in your marketing in terms of an incentive structure?
No, we didn't start this type of things because we didn't start the testnet. So next month we will start the Zeely campaign with the airdrop and testnet influencers. I have like around the 30 influencer network. It's my personal network, and in Turkey, in Europe, and in Asia. And so we will start with them this type of incentives. And at first, we're gonna start as a USDC incentives. And for each Zeely campaign, we will share like $300, $200, and at the end of the campaign. But after warming up session is done, we will starting to XP. It's like which you mentioned before. So we will call it X, our token X, and so we will give a point to them with a Zeely campaign. And so it's depends.
Yeah, exactly. Like that to directly answer your question. Basically, I wouldn't worry about the hype of the ecosystem or anything like that, right? It's in just do what you can do, right? And I would say align ways to get involved in the marketing, the promotion. Like you said, you have a launchpad and Zeely and everything like that as well, right? So just be mindful. Maybe we'll do that on an individual call of allocating the rewards proportionally. So you're not giving all these USDC dollars at the top here. You know what I mean? That you might allocate that to people who get more engaged further, and maybe there's a raffle entry for a prize pool here or something like that. So you're getting the most out of it, right? But to control what you can control, and to, like, as you said, you're doing a giveaway, right? So you have a bit of marketing budget, and to maximize that, you can just get different ways that people can participate, make it a little bit unique, keep it simple, and to really focus on what you can control. And I don't really see the ecosystem being hype being your constraint, right? So a lot of, when we talk to founders, they come up with imaginary limiting beliefs, you know, oh, we can't do this, the market's not there, the belief system's not there, you know. That's great when you have 2,000 or 3,000 people hungry to use your project, you know what I mean, or whatever like that, and then you can't scale further. But right now, I wouldn't be worrying about the ecosystem hype or anything like that. I would just really focus on getting that giveaway campaign, which essentially is what it is, and then come up with ways that the community can get involved. Like that, for example, you can get involved in the Twitter Spaces, and then ways the community can support that is here, and then allocate rewards proportionally, and try to have a kind of a different actions going on at different stages of the funnel. Launch in Zeely, and I'm pretty sure that you'll see that hype won't be the limiter of the ecosystem. You know what I mean? There'll be other limiters, other constraints before you figure that out. But we can address that on the call. I think Alexandra has her hand up, either accidentally or for real. So I might just throw it back to her as well.
Yeah, Alexandra, go on.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, thanks for such a great presentation. I'm really impressed with it. So my question is, what is the top tip you can give to aspiring Web3 marketers with a community that is just starting out?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And yeah, I wouldn't say even today, it's more of a, conversation, right? Because we're trying to get people talking and talking about real life problems here, not just like presentation to top down, but like the idea here is that we're looking at actual case studies. But what I would say is a Web3, am I still live, guys? If someone could just give me feedback here, because my screen's jumped. Nelly, am I still live here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry. Just making sure because my screen just came up here. Alexandra, the question you're asking, what kind of advice for emerging Web3 marketers? I would say is to think that you're nearly coordinating. It's beyond what you can do, right? So the traditional aspect of marketing is getting attention, getting seen, getting aware, right? But the biggest difference with Web3 is getting the community involved at a certain area. So that's the biggest thing I would say, is to look at this kind of funnel where, attention is nearly abundant, as in you can get on Twitter, you can get on these, influencers, crypto media, newsletters, PR, sponsorships, and everything like that. And that's the first layer about attracting it. And in traditional marketing, you can do ads, you can send them to your product, your landing page, and see the conversion funnel. But the biggest thing we're trying to do in Web3 is harness the community energy, right? So harness the way that the other people can get involved beyond you. So the best marketing won't be your budget, it won't be you, it won't be your team, it won't be agencies, it will be your community and how to unlock that. And it's really a 1-2 punch, right? It's like the idea of having a community program in place for them to get involved in and rewarded, and they're doing the marketing for you. And then you can apply top of the funnel sort of, marketing, if you have a way, ads and sponsorships and everything like that. But also what Web3 needs is leaders in terms of creating ideas. It's nearly like you're a video game creator, creating ideas that people can get involved, the community can get involved. So that we can't expect the community to actually do the marketing, but the idea is that you can come up with an interesting way of them getting involved, then they can partake. For example, instead of just getting them to retweet, right? That would be a classic one where, let me see if I can get a X up here, x.com. where we go into InnMind now. Oh, great, classic. But instead of just, for example, getting them to like and retweet, you could do a Twitter advanced search, and you could be saying, okay, search which crypto project is the best community right now, and every influencer that's asking that, right? You could say to the community, hey, I want you to reply to every crypto influencer who's asking which crypto project is hot right now, and send them to that direction. So you're nearly thinking that one step above that. You're not just replying yourself and you're tweeting from your Twitter profile. You're getting your brand appearing on other people's Twitter profiles around the internet and around different platforms. And it's not just you going in, posting and replying on Twitter threads or posting on Product Hunt. Is that the idea that you have a bit of an army behind you that is supporting you as, I suppose, the ringleader. So that's what it nearly feels like when you're doing Web3 marketing well, is that you're basically marshalling and coordinating an army that wants to get involved. One is because they're getting paid, and two is because they're aligned to your value system. And that's the second part I would say, is that there's giveaway retweets. There's all these ways of getting, competing on getting paid and rewards and everything like that. And that's where everything becomes the same. So having kind of the branding, the messaging clear, like I think with Storm, what you're really doing is unlocking, financial markets for everybody, because it's decentralized, it's through Telegram. So you really have a value system there where you're bringing financial markets to the world that was previously excluded, right? So there's countries that just don't have access to the financial markets, for better or worse, whether it's limited by their nation state leaders and everything like that. But you do have a mission statement there where you're basically unlocking financial markets for the whole planet, right? So that's a powerful story. So the idea is then is like you have a story, which is like your classic marketing message or whatever like that. But the next step is, how can you get that story spread out there? So the idea is the story of you guys, you're unlocking financial markets, decentralized for the whole planet. Telegram is the operating system. The story of us is how you can get involved and support us on this mission, right? We will pay you, but obviously you're aligned with the mission itself. And this is then how you can actually directly get involved. And I think you've already started with the Ton launch starter, so the best of luck with that. And the idea is, if it's working, great. And if it starts burning out, we can look at different ways to do that. But in terms of answering directly your question about like what Web3 growth marketing would look like, is the idea is that it's not just you do the marketing, it's not just your budget doing the marketing. It's the idea that you're kind of coordinating community to leverage and amplify everything that you're doing. Because a lot of these, when you're starting out as a startup, you're limited by funding anyway and resources. But you're even limited by your advertising channels. You mightn't be able to get on Twitter ads or Google ads and things like this, right? So the idea is you need to create your own channel, which is the community. And we've tried to outline this in different steps going forward. I think me and Ellie have plans on showcasing this in different formats and guides and PDFs and everything like that. But that's the biggest thing to think of, that traditional marketing, you're looking at Twitter, PR, influencers, where Web3 marketing, you're looking at the community being your channel first, and you need to get the community channel working. Then you can start leveraging, other channels like Twitter ads, influencers, sponsorships. And I'm sure we'll have a follow-up call as well, Alexander. We can go into more detail. But I definitely think that's nearly everyone, Ellie, right?
Yeah.
Because
Will, I think that we should let you go to your family, otherwise they will not let you join the next workshop by the end of this year. So the follow-up questions could be discussed on private calls. And I remind everyone in Zoom that, guys, you will receive an email from InnMind with the useful links from Will and the link to book a call with him to follow up regarding your startup case. Plus also, good news, we discussed with Yuri from Claimer, and he will also give special perk for all of you here in Zoom from Claimer, free credits to use Claimer platform to manage your marketing campaigns, whatever you use, Zilli or any other channel. You can use Claimer to do it more efficiently and track the results. And yeah, thanks a lot. And Will, it was so powerful. I'm really impressed. I'm sure I needed to watch this video twice more. And as some people in YouTube who are writing in the chat that you are speaking very fast, so some of them need to digest it, same on my side. But it's so powerful that, yeah, I can only say big thanks for joining us today and for sharing your wisdom and expertise.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Melly. Yeah, and as I said, we follow up with everyone today individually. It's really about the workshop today, so everyone tuning in, hopefully got a bit of it, but it's really about serving the workshop attendees today. And yeah, that's a wrap for now, and looking forward to catching you all up another time. Thanks so much,
and guys, by the way, guys that are still here, if you want to say thanks to Will, you can use also some marketing power and for example go to LinkedIn and make a post today or tomorrow about this workshop that you joined today, and tag Will and say thanks to him. I think that would be amazing, and also help him to bring more visibility to his knowledge and insights for wider masses of founders. I think it's a good idea. Okay, thank you, everyone. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day or night or morning. And good luck to everyone. We will follow up shortly. Thanks a lot, guys. And good luck with your marketing strategies.